Of Kittens and Broken Things. Chapter 34. She did not sleep through the night. She had nightmares, but Thane woke her and eased her back into sleep, soothed trembles and tremors and tears with venom and murmurs. She had to take another shower in the morning. Sweat had gathered and dried on her skin so many times overnight. She was wrung out and lank. Thane got breakfast and they ate quietly. She decided to leave her room. Yes, leave her room. Without training wheels or an escort. Thane asked her if she required assistance. She smiled, not a scary smile, and told him that she'd be fine. He bowed, smiled, and left. Not a scary smile. He was just inherently scary, and she needed that. She did not want to need that. But then she went and put herself in scary places, and so this was all self-inflicted. She had a long day to get through of mea culpa, and not really knowing what to say, but deciding that hello would be required. She was still fragile and now physically tired, and that was not likely to change anytime soon. After Thane left, she asked, "Edie?"
Yes, Commander.
"Edie, my life's weird."
It seems your death was weird as well.
Garrus smiled. "You've seen a lot of things I've said and done. I trust you, but I haven't told you that I trust you. I trust you. Thank you for protecting me in all the ways that you have. Thank you for saving our lives. Thank you for your support."
You are welcome, Commander. You do many things, and you do not wish for it to be known that you are doing them. You appear to do things that are true, yet not true. This seems to be the case for many organic life forms. I am trying to learn my way.
Do you have any questions?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead and ask.
You are Garrus Vicarian's bondmate?
Yes.
Were you his bondmate before you died?
No, that happened when I came back to life.
When?
The first day we docked at the Citadel.
Turians do not bond with humans.
This one did.
And you are also bonded, or is that wristbound or married to Thane Krios?
None of those. Friends, and attempting to create an illusion of a relationship because Turians do not bond with humans, and Garrus's job would be at risk if it were discovered we were bonded. Thane is trying to protect me. Us. The same way you are and have, by protecting my secrets.
Rumors believe you to already be bonded.
Edie sounded fascinated and proud of herself for venturing into social complexity and coming to a conclusion. But they can't prove it.
I do not understand.
Yeah, I can't really say I do either. Think of it as an attempted firewall or buffer or honeypot to attempt to keep out hackers, like radio silence while releasing a decoy. I don't want Garrus to lose his job. It would make the fight against Reapers much more difficult. She thought, if not impossible.
I will aid you, Commander.
Thank you, Edie. If you have more questions, please ask.
I do.
Kara spent a good hour explaining her bizarre behavior to Edie. Kara gave her permission to call her Lal in mixed company, Kara privately. At the end of the conversation, Edie said,
Kara, I have noticed that you speak to the inanimate. If it is helpful... I am inanimate. You can always speak to me.
Edie sounded shy, and Garrus' heart swelled. You're animate, Edie.
I would like it if you still spoke to me. I can be silent if you wish.
I have always counted on your silence, Edie. But that's not why you'd be my friend.
Why would I be your friend?
That question reflected some anxiety with Kara's bad phrasing, confusion in a tentative and tender spot, which Kara tried carefully to clarify and patch. You are my friend because you are brilliant, loyal. You've saved my life so many times, and I would be lost without you.
I do have excellent navigation.
And I really like you.
Thank you, Kara.
The tone in Edie's voice was layered and poignant. Kara tried to remember the lessons of mea culpa. Edie, if you need a friend, if you have questions, if you want to talk to someone, I'd like to be that person. There was a momentary pause and then an entirely different tone of voice. An unshackled gush of sorts. And Kara felt like she'd found kin.
Thank you, Kara.
Kara then went with the intention to speak to Dr. Shakwas. Long overdue. She still did not want to do it and moved with hesitation. She stood at the door considering reprieve, but the swish of it opening shifted intent to face to only one way forward. She stepped inside. Karen raised her head. Kara stepped closer and said, I have a confession. Dr. Shakwas's brows raised. You asked me if I'd drink brandy with you. I told you I would. Later, and I didn't. I'm sorry. I don't drink, and I didn't want to admit to that. I didn't know what to say. I still don't, but I didn't want you to think I forgot, or that... Kara met her eyes. I'm sorry. Dr. Shakwa smiled and indicated for her to sit, so she did. We haven't had many opportunities to speak. I haven't made many. You came back to work with me. I want you to know I appreciate that every day. I'm just not all that good at talking to people. You don't look well, Commander. Kara tried to smile. What? I'm pale? Karen leaned forward and took her hand. Commander Shepard, I appreciate your honesty. You haven't been by, and you didn't check in after the collector vessel. Then you were gone for a week. And I want to make sure I take the best care of you that I can. I should have, and I should. I'm afraid it didn't occur to me that, with everything going on... Well, I have been avoiding you. If you run a scan on me, you might find out that I'm under the influence of Turian bonding chemistry. It did not occur to me until very recently that it was medically relevant, and you deserved to know. I only wanted to protect you from the vulnerable place it puts you in by having that information. The vulnerable place that puts us in. I'm officially a drug addict. That potentially means your inventory of treatments being depleted in a specific way and requisitions for medication being vulnerable to analysis. I've placed you in a difficult, if not impossible, ethical and practical situation without your consent. You were already there, I just didn't warn you. Or maybe I thought you'd think less of me. Probably both. You volunteered to patch me up when I got shot, not... Not this. Whatever this is. I've only considered it to be medically terribly inconvenient, and I have been more concerned about concealing it than I have been about respecting your medical prerogative, respecting you. I've lied to you, and I've evaded. Kara swallowed hard on that thought. I'd like to say I would have told you before a mission where I could have been injured, and it affected my treatment, but it turns out Turian bonding chemistry drops my IQ precipitously, and I'm too accustomed to secrets to give any of them away, even to those who deserve and need to know. Karen's smile was wide. The rumors are true. The rumors are true. Good for him. He's a good man, and he has excellent taste. Good for you. Is that why you were for the week? Yes. I'm happy for you both. Now that I know I can help, I promise. I'm here to help you, Commander. If I wished to work for the Alliance or the Council, I would be. I think I'm about to cry. Karen handed her a tissue. Perhaps I will join you. She blurted because the truth came in a set. And Thane and I are pretending to have a relationship. You have excellent taste in men, Commander. Thank you. Morden helped us by formulating some remedies that may make it easier for me. I will confer with him. If I may, I believe Miranda would also be of help on the subject. There is a great deal about your resurrection that I can only guess about. No, please, no. I don't trust her. Not with this. It's not because she would tell anybody. It's just that the information will get out there. She's the most likely to write this down somewhere. And then it will be read because... Please, no. If she relays any of this to Cerberus or files this information under Project Lazarus, which would be an obvious target of hacking, they'll... No. I can't stress enough that this is not just personally embarrassing and painful, but that secrets like this have lives of their own. They have gravity, and things begin to fall their way. She'll turn me into data. That data, no matter how hard she tries to conceal it, will find its way to an analyst at a Cerberus desk, and with enough clues, the exposure would be unbearable. I'd be better off just taking out banner ads in Voyeurs Weekly. As you wish. I will not involve Miranda. I will not chart your treatment. I will arrange for inventory security. You are going to submit to an exam immediately. Yes, ma'am. She spent a few hours in the medbay having everything tested. Going over every symptom. And she was given a shot of something. She had no idea what it was. Her Omni tool was programmed to report to Karen all sorts of things. Reservoirs of anything she could want to use as medication, titrated by symptom. And she got a lot of lecturing about using them, or else Karen would know and would find her and make her sorry. And if that failed, she would find Garrus and make him sorry. Garrus smiled through most of it. Please also inform Sir Krios that if he does not wish to be sorry, he will also inform me when you need assistance. Yes, ma'am. I've monopolized you enough. Please eat. And please come speak to me another time when things are less dire, if that's possible. I'll secure a bottle of something non-alcoholic. Your visit would be treasured, and I promise to not turn it into an interrogation or an examination. Please, visit more often. Yes, ma'am. Kara wandered out, slightly dazed and feeling physically much better, but the ripples of potential security breach, even to those she trusted and needed, induced existential nausea. She went to the mess hall and got something to eat, forced herself to sit in the mess, a place that made her nervous. No matter where she sat, it was always an exposed spot, open doors or transparent glass to her back no matter what she did. Food was beginning to taste a little bit better. She wasn't nauseated, but she still didn't have a real appetite, and it was still a chore. Nobody talked to her, and she was grateful. Even though the interactions had been positive, she was worn down and raw. She made it to the elevator and to her cabin. She didn't think Thane was going to follow her, but she locked herself in the bathroom anyway, comforted in a smaller space where nobody would intrude, find her, and change what it was she wanted to feel right now. She didn't know what it was, but she just needed to be alone. She tried very hard to have no regrets. She'd do it over again, she would. She knew it. She wouldn't take it back, but regardless of her discovering she had inspired loyalty and she had friends and allies, she wouldn't have needed them to take a potential hit for her if she had managed to maintain her first instinct to protect Garrus, protect herself, protect the mission, and defer bond. Anybody discovering this that wasn't sympathetic would have the immediate smug thought that Commander Shepard couldn't control herself and couldn't resist placing everything at risk. Lives and plans and strategy, alliances and secrets. For him. Even that was generous. Not for him. For herself. They wouldn't see it as love, but as loss of self-control. A weakness. Something to drive a wedge into and wait. She couldn't control herself. It was inexcusable, unforgivable, the biggest intentional mistake she had ever walked straight into with eyes wide open, because she couldn't control herself. She was accustomed to curiosity and problems spurring her along to solve them, but right now her brain was mostly unavailable. Everything was interpreted as pain due to physical hypersensitivity and the raw, stinging existential sensation of chaos opening up. She couldn't control the variables. She couldn't control herself. She could only wait for consequences. She turned off the lights and tried to do nothing but breathe, to feel the cool tile under her fingernails as something she focused on to block out everything else. Just the texture of the tile and the lines of the grout. It took about 20 minutes for her to calm her breathing and feel the silence and the dark close in over the raw pain, sensory deprivation, and limited focus on the irrelevant but immediate, doing what immersion could not. She did not consult her parents. She anticipated love, which was an abundant resource at the moment, but also anticipated silence as the only answers to any of the questions she might ask. When Thane arrived, a few hours later, she was studying. She smiled at him, but no more, and he smiled back, engaged himself in his own study or meditation, and did not speak. She didn't go back out. stayed in her cabin until they berthed on Ilium. She sent a text message to Liara informing her they'd go straight to the apartment. Liara probably knew they were berthed before Kara did. Liara said she'd bring food. Hopefully, Kara was past retching. She wanted to whisper, "Please, no cheesecake," but didn't. She did choke on the words and on the sure knowledge that she possibly could not approach cheesecake for the rest of her life without wanting to cry and run to her bondmate, wherever he was. She briefly imagined Garrus dying in the fight, and in the aftermath there'd be a bakery and a cheesecake, with Kara staring at it until she decided she could not risk passing by a bakery again. Her risks and rewards would all be over. She'd shut herself into Intaise and wait for nothing to happen. She'd talk to him. Thane offered her his arm, and she took it. Garrus knew, Russ knew, Liara knew about their relationship being fake. Although it wasn't fake, it just wasn't sexual, except when he touched her or looked at her, and parts of her melted and blushed, and when he looked at her as though she were the most precious creature. And when he spoke to her, and when he threatened people's lives on her behalf, and when he took life at her order without question. They would both sell that impression to everyone, especially to a Taurian who watched and trusted and tortured and would not mention it to her. To a Taurian who would have to... Oh, dear, Garrus's mother did not know, and Commander Shepard was about to be squired about Ilium on the arm of a... What? How to explain Thane? Oh, no. There was no explaining Thane. Just as clearly as Taurians knew Garrus was bonded to Shepard. People would see that Thane was in love with her, and that she was in love with him in ways with borders and lines and explanations that would never be believed because they were in the order of 0.1% probability. She did not lean on his arm, and she did not fall. Liara greeted them with a hug to Kara and an easy introduction to Thane, who seemed to experience no surprise at all that Liara was the shadow broker. There was food, and it was good, and she didn't get sick. Liara asked about their upcoming mission and what was so undercover about it. Thane told her. An appearance at a party, acquiring an item required by another of Shepard's crew. An opportunity for Kara to walk in heels. Kara, you stomp. What? You stomp. Thane nodded. I have told her so. She has yet to grasp the nuances. He had found an ally. Their shoes. I walk in them. You stomp. You can't walk in heels like you're wearing boots. Liara stood up and took Kara's hand. She said to Thane, "The ones she'll be wearing are higher?" Thane nodded and fished through his luggage. He drew out scarlet stilettos with a thin, at least 4-inch heel, and it probably couldn't get higher. She had small feet. Thane! No! Liara and Thane ignored her. Those are lovely. May I? Thane gave them to Liara, who properly admired them and then turned shocked eyes to Kara. Kara, you cannot say no to these shoes. I just did. I'd try to wear them, but these are too small for me. I am resigned to the fact that much of my life is going to be small and short jokes. Thane clarified. Petite. Liara said, looking at the shoes. Exquisite. Liara had her own heels, and she demonstrated. You can't put your whole foot down at once. Feel the ground with the heel, and then rock your weight forward. Put some hip into it. One foot directly in front of the other. That was exactly what Thane had told her. She had suspected that at some point Thane was going to have a pair of heels made for himself so he could demonstrate personally and shame her into developing an actual skill. Kara needn't have worried about Thane and Liara getting along. Kara tried on outfits. Liara cooed over the lines and the design. Kara was taught how to walk in heels, admonished by both of them to practice. She stayed quiet for most of the evening. She was definitely wearing the heels. She excused herself after a time, Liara standing and saying, We've been talking designers. I'm sorry. I lost track of time. Thane smiled at her, and so did Kara. It's okay. Enjoy your evening. I'm tired. Going to bed. There was only one bedroom. I didn't think of... There's only one bed. I am really bad at this. Oh, I can find a different apartment. Not tonight, but it will not be a concern. My needs are more than met by the couch. I'm accustomed to much less in the way of potential for comfort. Please, do not trouble yourself. And my thanks for the refuge and welcome. Kara felt her jaw shift. He could have slept on the couch in her cabin, also. He hadn't. Liara looked slightly uncomfortable. Maybe I should go. Not at all. Please stay. It has been a pleasure speaking with you. Liara was clearly relieved. They would both be happy to gratefully find their way to confidences and collusion in Kara's absence. They'd done it right in front of her. She wasn't insulted. It made her, in fact, smile, so Liara's face looked more relieved. Thane's position as alternate host and authority was established. Kara was going to have to learn to talk about things she didn't care about, but she hadn't done well tonight. She really didn't care about fashion, and she was raw from the effort. Still, lovely people who loved her in return, but it was too much. She returned to a forced, neutral state of lessened anxiety by focusing on simple tasks. Shower. Deep breaths. She contacted Garrus. The inconvenient and procedurally rude time difference again was clear. He was in the middle of his day, and it took him a moment, but she recognized the smaller private suite in his office where he retreated. He'd probably been in the middle of a meeting. She smiled at him. Hi. I love you.
I love you.
I'm on Ilium. Liara and Thane are discussing designers.
Designers of what?
Clothes.
That should keep them busy.
It has.
You're beautiful and very tired.
I am very tired.
Nice try, but you're still beautiful. Your eyes look like they want to close.
Then I couldn't see yours.
It's okay. I'll describe them for you if you want. They're blue and they adore you. Close your eyes.
She did, muscles relaxing slightly from the lack of sensory input.
Kara, I'll just talk. You can listen. Then you can go to sleep.
Okay.
Someday all the distance will be gone. The fight will be over. We'll be heroes and we'll be brave and all that. But let's think about that someday for a few minutes.
Okay.
You have the universe to choose from. Where do you want to go?
Somewhere with you.
That was an assumption I was counting on. But you don't know where? What about Mindor?
Beautiful memories, but bad memories. I can't do it.
Do you want to visit someday at least?
Maybe.
Okay, so one place down, a bunch to go. Anywhere. We shouldn't go to Palaven. The place will try to kill you. Somewhere that you can be outside. Somewhere with trees?
That would be lovely.
Okay, somewhere with trees and me. What kind of trees? Chocolate trees? Milk trees?
She smiled, warm and silly drips of his teasing voice making her feel very strongly, just as strongly as she'd felt a few hours ago, that she had not made a mistake in the least. He was the best thing that had ever happened to her. And if it came with a price, she would pay. Right now, she said, there's no such thing as milk trees. He sounded offended.
I can do a lot of things, Kara. If I want a milk tree, I'll make it happen. How about a cake tree?
Her smile widened. There's no such thing as cake trees.
I'll go out every night and hang some cake from the low branches, ones you can reach. Or I can lift you up so you can get to the good stuff, just a little bit higher, like 4 feet.
Cake tree sounds lovely. And an apple tree.
Cake tree and apple tree and me.
That sounds perfect.
Yes, it does. Think about it, Kara. Don't just think about the hard stuff. Think about the good stuff. We are the good stuff.
You are the good stuff.
Nice try, beautiful good stuff.
The cake tree is going to be a mess. It's going to draw bugs.
You don't have much of a fantasy life, do you?
No, I guess not. Not unless it involves shooting people.
You should change that. Instead of guns sometimes, think about us sitting under a cake tree, gathering swarms of whatever bugs live there. Then it starts raining.
I have no idea how you do that. I love you. You make me happy.
I love you. You make me happy. You're beautiful and stubborn and we'll need an umbrella. Go to sleep, Kara. Take moments for dreams and not plans.
I didn't ask you what you wanted.
I want you.
Don't you want a tree?
I'll have a tree and she grows. Wait, that didn't work. Scratch that. Improv is hard sometimes.
Her smile faded to sleepy, content, intent to rest. It worked. Good night. I love you.
Good night, Kara. We'll get there. Have faith.
I do. For the moment, she absolutely did. Warmth and love and improbable, inconvenient, and very specific. Cake.